be invested, 13 paise comes back to me as a tax, direct or indirect tax. So, if I want my economy to grow and if my budget today is 1,15,000 crores, my credit plan is 1,25,000 crores, how do I target it properly? So, now we have telephone number of every person who is taking a bank loan. My control room is going to talk to this person, are you okay? Next year, we will not talk about this. We will say that whether you are in a cluster, are you having technology support, are you having marketing support, like you take the self-help groups of Andhra Pradesh. Flipkart has already listed out around 800 products which our women are preparing, branding of that. And within next few days, that website will be launched where all these products will be sold all over the world. So, women will be preparing that. So, we are talking about technology, next generation solutions, and the things on which we want to work. And which are the areas where the growth happens very fast. Yesterday, some Australians were coming and sitting with us. They are into logistics. Logistics basically means products come either locally or from outside. In a seamless way, they are transferred. So, transportation jobs are created, warehousing jobs are created, manufacturing happens, raw material things come, and a whole lot of things around that will happen. Singapore is the best logistics destination in the world. What they have done is they have a deep sea port. They have Logistics Association of Singapore, which coordinates all the disputes. They have very simple laws on which they try to work out as to how things can be done. They use IT technology, so bulk containers in the sea move from one place to second place, and things start happening there. And the system works very well. So, Indian companies are setting up headquarters on logistics in Singapore, but can that happen in Andhra Pradesh so that we become the logistics capital of the country? We become the health capital of the country. We become the education capital of the country. These are the areas where clean technology will come and a whole lot of changes will happen. So, how are we trying to work on the structural change? I'll give you one final example and then I'll come to the next topic. It basically means that a farmer will be earning 0.5 to 0.1 unit is the income of a farmer, and 60% of population is into this bracket. In manufacturing, with a little bit more skill, the person will earn 4 units. Now, you come to insurance sector, financial sector, person will earn 30 rupees. So, if we have 9 lakh children born, 9 lakh children going to education, what is our soft skill methodology? How are we training our children? So, farmer earning 0.5, manufacturing earning 4, and higher sector earning 30 rupees. So, one person here earning 30 is equal to 60 farmers, and knowing fully well that out of 60% population in rural areas, at least 40% will move out in next 5 to 10 years. So, where will they go? What is the skill required? How are we working out? So, we have roped in Professor Parshuraman, who is the chief of TCS, and Mr. Amodorai. The question is, along with undergraduation, can we start a credit system? So, they have developed a 64 credit system, first year 24 credits, along with undergraduation. In 11 universities in Eastern UP, the worst of the area in the country, they have tried it out, and all children got jobs. This is structural change. How do we make it happen? It needs investment, it needs technology, it needs whole lot of work. All our officers who are posted will not be transferred for next 4 years. They have to deliver. There is no choice for them. No politics in there. Next point. Urban income is always 2.5 to 3 times more than the rural income, come what may. But if you see metropolises or mega policies, the quality of life is poor. But tier 2 and tier 3 cities, if I can travel 20-30 kilometers and come and work there, my income will be 2.5 times more than the rural area. Now, Andhra has a disadvantage there. We have 30% population in urban areas. Telangana has 40% population, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra has 50% population. So, that means 20% people in Maharashtra are earning 2.5 times of the rural area. So, how do we work out? So, we have made a policy now where we are talking about 3 mega towns and 12 district headquarters where we would like to develop. So, we are bringing foreign collaborations there in an open economy. So, we are trying to work on a structural change while we are talking about short hits which John Cotter talks about. That is part 2. Where are we today? How are we planning structural change? Point 3, if we take an example of Amravati. I remember Singapore delegation came, I was called to talk to them, we discussed with them. They showed interest. What is happening is most of these countries have got a lot of wealth. Temasek today paper says 4,000 crores they've invested. It's a government company which became privatized in Singapore, which has a property worth a value of $3.2 trillion they have with them to invest. So all these countries are sitting with money. They are sitting with technology. They don't have people. And they are looking for an area, and India gives the area where your middle class population is more than whole of US population. So everyone wants to come here and set up base here, but how do we do that? How do we bring them on? So we were going to Singapore. I had analyzed the 3 cities which Singapore has developed in China: Tianjin, Guangzhou, and one more city. Tianjin is now being rated as one of the fastest growing cities in the world. So what Singapore did was, they asked Tianjin city that give us around 15 square kilometers of a green area, 15, 20, 30 kilometers from your main city. We will develop the master plan. We will create a joint venture company. We will bring a master developer, and we will develop whole lot of area. But we are not talking about development. We are talking about jobs. We are talking about companies coming and setting up base in China, and that's how we will try to work out. So when we started discussing about the new city, incidentally, if you take Hyderabad and Sikandrabad and Cyberabad got added, it's the same way Vijayawada, Guntur, plus 11 municipalities, plus Amravati, and outer ring road which is longer than the outer ring road of Hyderabad and covering about 7,200 kilometers with 2.5 million population, which will become around 9 to 10 million in next 10 years. So we had a discussion. We said that we are doing land pooling, so we are not investing any money. This land, 10 kilometer of that we will develop as a commercial city or a green city. So we joined Singapore in doing the master planning of this area. We are not paying anything. Master planning is free. Master plan has already come. Foundation stone will happen. Then we discussed that we want to complete this capital city before next election. So in 4 years we have to complete this. So we'll have a riverfront, it'll have commercial area, it'll have economic area, it'll have residential area in that 10 square kilometers. So we created a 50-50 joint venture with Singapore. Land is ours, trunk infrastructure, everything is theirs. Now we are going to select a master developer from Singapore, probably, who will come and construct this total system. It will be either given on sale or it will be given on lease. But most critical is this company has to bring 50 Singapore-based companies to this place where jobs will be created. We have to train our children to work on that. Then we were talking to Japan. Singapore has an economy of $400 billion. Japan has an economy of $4,000 billion. Andhra has an economy only of $100 billion. We feel very small when we go before these people and we talk to them, but we want to grow faster. So Japan we discussed and we said that we are creating jobs. Then Japanese minister said we can request 200 companies to shift headquarters, Indian headquarters from Japan when they come here into this new city. And so we are talking about 4 to 5 lakh jobs to be created in next 4 years. Construction to be over. And then Japanese companies will come and work on the utilities, whether it is water supply or it's solid waste management, it's whole lot of infrastructure. So we are talking to a number of international companies on better management, smart management, crime control, because we have the database of every individual available with that. So that's how, then while we are talking about it, Vizag, Americans say we want to come and join. Australians are saying we'll join in Kurnool. Spain says we will join in Tirupati. Can we develop a similar city? And all our industries will come and set up base there. And that's how we are trying to develop that. Part 3 of my discussion. Part 4 is, can you play a role? So we started this Smart Village and Smart Ward program. We are taking people on sabbatical to work with us, bring their knowledge, learn knowledge and create groups. We have mentors to support it. So now Smart Village concept we are trying to work out, that every year normally we do a campaign and we forget about the village. Like I have partnered a village in Anantapur because I have a long affiliation with Anantapur and Rayalaseema. So I'll be working with this particular village in the long run. There are a lot of things like saturation we are working out. Suppose we take, you have partnered a village and you go to the village. We'll guide everything. We'll have professionals managing the sites, etc. How to enter a village, what are the things you can do there. And if we say that this village needs say 300 toilets. So you don't have to become a paravicar and run around that these toilets are there. You will sit down with them in a focus group discussion, encourage that if toilets are sanctioned, they will all construct. We are giving 15,000 rupees per toilet. So you will upload the data and it will get registered that this village has made request for 300 toilets. If the system can sanction it this year, it will come, otherwise it will come next year. On similar lines, there are a number of programs, like we are just launching a 3,000 crore plan to do concrete roads and underground drainage in every village, every habitation. In next 3 or 4 years, we will complete this work. In 3 years, we will complete the work of all the toilets. So that way system will be joining. But we are also thinking that we will give some standardized models. Suppose you want to, in the name of your group or together, you want to spend some, say some money in a village and say, I would like to construct a school building costing 20 lakh rupees. So a design of 20 lakh rupees will be available. You can contribute that and government will construct it. So your money will not be wasted over there. If you want to create a chair in university, that's also possible. So we will continue this dialogue through PMI, that how we can try to link up, how many of you are interested in that. Professor Ramadurai and Parshuraman, they've already agreed that corporate social responsibility funds will come to Andhra Pradesh. Almost 100 crore rupees will be investing in upgrading the skill of the people. And I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
That's very wonderful, sir. It's indeed heartening to see, with still budgets being so constraining, how you are innovating to take the state to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, we had quite a few questions from the front tables. It's time we move behind, because we don't want to feel that everybody behind the first few rows are forgotten. Anybody from the rear who wants to ask a question? Yes, could I have somebody supply a mic out there, please? There are 2 hands out there. May I? Thank you.
Sir, I have one question. In the last 1.5 years, rather 1 year, we have been hearing about the smart cities. Well, is there any agreed definition of the smart city that when you say smart, it means this?
Why do you want to go into definition? If you are happy and comfortable, that's a smart city. But the question comes back is, whole lot of organizations are working. Number of cities in the world have been declared officially as smart cities by UN Habitat. So basically we are talking about management, smart management of utilities. Planning is like, now if we are talking about Amaravati planning, the streets are being designed in such a way that anytime you are walking, you will not face the sunlight on you. You will have smart energy conservation, green energy. You will have a whole lot of things linked with that. If you are talking about security of the people, that also is a part of it. So a whole lot of NEC has developed number of tools and technologies. There are 3 or 4 cities which have been listed out that way. Those concepts are brought in by the planners. That's how it goes about.
Yeah, basically, but when we are aiming at that kind of a sophistication or precision, don't we think that we should go through the basic needs, infrastructure needs of cleanliness,
yes,
or keeping away from the dark?
Today, the total solid waste of Andhra Pradesh is equal to 205 megawatts. 5 power plants we are starting. Recycling of the water we are trying to work out. Cleanliness, Swachh Andhra Pradesh, Swachh Bharat is the most critical slogan on which we are working. When we talk about development, we talk about inclusive development. We don't talk about rich people. We always talk about people who do not have access to access or capacity to work on, and it's one of the most critical items. If the basic needs of shelter and income and food and other things are not met, everything else is meaningless. So your point is well taken. I'm with you. Thank you.
In fact, your mention about the smart villages and building the toilets constitutes part of the thing. Wonderful. Could I have somebody from the rear, please? Yes, there is one hand lifted at the back. Could you please take the mic to that gentleman?
Excuse me, sir. I want to talk about the traffic in Hyderabad. We have been talking about the traffic in Hyderabad from many years, but nothing was being done. Actually, if you see the road from Kukatpalli to High-Tech City, we built the flyover. Actually, initially when we built the flyover, everything was good. But now it's a nightmare.
There's a lot of criticism about flyovers because it takes one congestion from one place and shifts to another place. It's not a proper planning. And when we are trying to work out, we are always 10 years behind the traffic requirements. So it's a huge crisis because the system has not been developed, and the kind of problems we will face in India or maybe China. China has been able to address that, India has to address it. Issue is we are always behind our system, how we are trying to work, but everybody wants to go by car, a single occupant in a car, no discipline of that. Let us see if the metro comes, whether we are able to use it and then start changing our culture. Answer, it's very difficult, whole lot of things there. I don't think I have a straight answer for you.
That's right. And one more problem is actually if you compare other cities with the Hyderabad, traffic rules were very bad in Hyderabad. If you compare Mumbai or Chennai, actually they maintain traffic rules very good.
The laid back attitude and chalta hai.
That's right.
Sure. There is that gentleman from the behind who has been raising his hand. Could I have the mic passed over there, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The passion with which you spoke kind of gives us a reassurance that we are moving in a right direction with Andhra. But there was one thing which I was always confused when this whole thing started. See, I'm basically from Vijayawada, okay? So there's a lot of very fertile agricultural land in that belt. Now, when you're talking about so much development bringing in, the whole loss of, you're losing so much of fertile land to all this construction. So, how
your
are we
point
going
is
to
well
balance that?
taken, but what happens is we are talking about a competitive advantage. If palm oil can be produced at the cheapest rate of 10 rupees in Malaysia, it should come from there. We are to the extent possible trying to take waste land, but in the process if small cultivable land is going into it, it's a kind of a balancing of interest which we have to work on. I don't think beyond that anyone can answer it. If you are an activist, you will fight that why it is happening. If I'm a planner, I'll say, can I manage it and still consider the requests of the people who are suffering? Can I work out something for them? So it's a kind of a balancing which our society has to do. In China, nobody discusses that balancing. Here at least we give space to that balancing and keep that in mind. That's what we try to do.
Okay, thank you.
One point which the first person asked, actually, when we got independence, we never talked about efficiency. We talked about bureaucracy as my baap, and we will deliver. Come to us, we will deliver. And it has created such a huge problem for the community in our society. They don't know how to control their system and run it and manage it. If they try to say, like the last person, we call them Naxalites, we call them activists, and we start taking action against them, that has to change, but with education, with faster communication, with networking of communities, these things will happen. System demands whatever is required. It's not a dole which is being given to the people. It's their right which is coming up.
Sure. Thank you very much, sir. In the interest of time, we will, stop here. May I call upon Mr. Tony, Director from PMIPCC, to kindly felicitate Mr. Tucker.
I talked about spiritual quotient without the permission of chair. I'm saying lot of things around us. I don't know all of you whether you know there's a cord going from here, and Indians have a very thick cord. It's a spiritual cord. If you get into these things, it will connect you to your system in much, much better way. There are a lot of learning methodologies for that, very simple methodologies which you can work out. But start reading. There's a book called 50 Best Spiritual Books in the World. It's a summary of 4 pages of each of the book. Whichever you like, you can read. But if Steve Jobs, at the end of his life, says that everyone must read Autobiography of a Yogi, which he read when he was very young and came to India, it was a self-realization. Who am I? What am I doing with myself? Very critical. Thank you.